the High Voltage Live Show. I'm your host, Willie Snyder from NEC Code, coming to you live from the Mile High City in Denver, Colorado. Joined by my awesome co-host, Mr. King James Stallcup over there in Longhorn Country,
Right.
giving old hook 'em horns and show 'em the old hook 'em horns over there. Look who we already have jumping in, man. Oh, he is ready. He is ready to go.
He's ready for another butt whooping night. What he's ready
man. Oh man, this is gonna be.
It doesn't matter. I started off the new year #1. That's all that matters.
Yeah, dude, you gotta put some respect on Texas, man. You know. He did that. He did that bias podcast. You know, he didn't do it for no reason. You know, we had to get it biased for a reason, so they at least won at the end of the season. You know,
it looked like that game was close. Then Houston it went really sideways for Pittsburgh.
Oh yeah. The Texans. Yeah, the Texans really, like, dude, their defense has been great all year. Like, I mean, it would be actually kind of cool to see the Texans. Like, have they ever appeared in a Super Bowl? I don't think they have they?
I don't think they ever have.
I mean, probably as the Houston Oilers or something or whatever.
Maybe as Oilers they might have. I don't even remember then if they did. Because mainly the Cowboys were there most of the time, so, you know.
Right. Yeah. So
that's why they were America's team. Now they suck.
Well, we'll see. 2026 is going to be their year. We'll see. But you never know. I mean, you know, Daniel. Here you go, brother. I got this for Daniel. I always keep it out there. You know, I always keep it out there. He loves me to bring the clown music, so I always bring it. I bring it every week. So there you go, Daniel. Got your clown music for tonight. So you never know. We might have old Jeremy show up. We might need the clown music some more. But,
never know.
Yeah. So oh yeah, that's gonna be interesting, man. I don't
think because they hired her, that's gonna make that big of a difference. They got a rebuild to do. They're not that good right now.
Yeah,
but I think they will play more discipline than they have been.
If they turn like Scatterboo into a grinding back and make him like not take so much chances and stuff, just make him like a 10-yard back, like maybe 8 to 9 yard carry every down, you know, and just kind of like go in there and bulldoze. I mean, dude, they could be, you know, with him and Dart, like, because Dart was making some crazy moves too, you know. So it's like, if you could settle both of those guys down and get them on the same page, like, I could see those being like a top 2 tandem in the NFL, you know. So we'll see. And guess what? They're both on my fantasy dynasty, so we'll see what happens, you know.
You never know.
Scatterboo's hurt, and you know, who knows? Like, you know, that's one of those injuries that, you know, hopefully he plays football again. You know, I mean.
Yeah.
It was pretty bad. So, yeah, and, dude, that's going to be awesome, man. I really hope that the Broncos pull it out. I was hoping for somebody other than the Bills, but, you know, like I say, we'll see. I would have fronted you on the $600 ticket if King James didn't dock my pay. You know, for being a little late one night, so, you know, I would have just been able to pick up those tickets, you know, but I was almost late tonight. It was pretty bad traffic, but I got her. So a lot of fun. I don't know what you want to go into first. I have some audio, and
let's do myth of the week before we get started.
Okay.
Let's go ahead.
Oh, what about meme?
I mean meme of the week.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, because the myth is going to probably translate over, I have a feeling. So
basically, do you want me to do the audio in the myth of the week?
Yeah, let's do it that way.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, let's go ahead and get the meme out of the way.
Okay. Except electricity. That definitely kills you. So.
Yeah, that definitely will take care of the business, I'll tell you.
Yep. So I thought that was pretty funny. I saw that one, and like I say, I think you'll like this audio because basically what they're saying is basically that the manufacturer instructions cannot lessen the requirements of the code. But the problem is that there's been a little bit of a conflict. I
Really?
I yeah, like I got a public input pass all the way through first draft, second draft, the CAM process, and it got really scrutinized when it got to the CAM process. Remember that there was like
Yeah.
11 CAMs to put it back to the original language, and they all got rejected. All 11 got rejected, and so they appealed. They took it to the Standards Council, and the Standards Council upheld the appeal and said the code making panel failed to substantiate a need for the change. Well, that's what we were saying the whole time about 210.8f. So,
That's right.
you'll see how this all kind of goes full circle.
Okay, well, let's kick it off.
It's time for Myth of the Week.
All right, thanks everyone for joining. Thanks so much for all the awesome comments on the Myth of the Week on electrical code discussion for awesome electricians. Had a lot of really good comments on there. And don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. It means a lot to me and King James. This one, you see we're getting up there over 180 myths. And this one's true or false. The NEC requires a receptacle device to be mounted in raised covers by more than one screw per the 2023 NEC. And that is correct. Unless the cover is listed for one screw. And that's a good point that you made. King James kind of brought this to my attention when I was talking to him about it. And it says that receptacles must be securely mounted by one screw unless the cover is listed for one screw. And so I think a reason that they had to do that was to cover like the existing installations, and there was covers. So what we run into in a lot of this is if you have like let's just say you have an installation from like 2005, let's just say, and it has one screw on the cover. Well, they don't expect you to drill that out and mount extra screws in there. They are considering that cover is listed for one screw and you could use it. And so they try to make this code change, and I know I don't know if you talked to Pops about it, but like I say, it was I want to say it's 2014 or maybe even 2008 that it came in where they actually tried to change this. I don't know if they actually did or not, but I remember language. It could even been going back to '99, saying no device can be mounted with a single screw. And
Well, it was interesting because when you asked me about it, and I said, well, you could do it for one. You told me no. I said, now wait a minute. I said, if I remember right, it's two screws, but if the raised cover is listed and identified, you can use a single screw.
true.
I said, now I sort of remembered it going in, but like you said, I think that was for left in there for the older installations. And I went
Sure.
back, I started doing some checking. Dad agreed with everything I said. And I went back and I started checking.
What about
at these
everything I
covers.
said? What about everything I said? You agree with me too?
Yeah, well,
Okay.
that's what I'm about to get into.
Okay.
Because I started going back and I started looking as far back as I could find something. And it was about 2012 where I started picking stuff up, where I started, where I could find something on the internet, where I
Okay.
started seeing the covers. And I ended up finding, you won't find any with a single screw anymore.
Right.
I couldn't find them. I was just checking to make sure, and I found two types. I found one with 3 screws and one with 2.
Right.
So that's what they're making now. And my whole thing is, I don't even know why you need the middle screw there anymore.
So I know I actually talked with some engineers from like Rayco and stuff, and they had already had these covers like made and developed and everything, and they already had a mold in there and everything. So they just left the center screw, and then they just made 2 outer ones. And so that's why I don't know if you remember, I told you like look in Link, and then they showed the one with the 3 screws in there.
Yeah,
And I
I
don't.
actually have that. I actually pulled it up just
Okay.
just to be sure. And matter of fact, I will take us over there and look at that. Let me get everything set here where I can go over and grab it. So they have a picture there with 3 of them, and I wanted to make sure what I was seeing online when I started looking at it. And where I picked it up, I was actually looking at the 2023, not the 2026. So I just wanted to be absolutely sure what I was looking at and everything when I put it in, because you had it based on the 2023. So I wanted to keep it in that one.
Okay.
So let me go over here so everybody can see it. There we go. All right. Share the screen here real quick. Okay. Everybody should be able to see that. Okay.
Yeah, so this is like in the actual handbook, and it shows all 3 screws. I almost think they put the 3rd screw in the center just to avoid controversy, but they're sitting there saying the inspectors will make you put all 3, and I don't know why. Like because that center screw is only for a vinyl cover.
That's right.
And so that listing and labeling would be on the cover, basically saying if you use a cover on that receptacle that you need to use that center screw. Has nothing to do with the industrial cover because you're compliant with 406 5C, is it? It might be 13 in the 2023. It might have moved.
Well, in the 2023, it's 406.5C.
Gotcha. And so, I mean, to me, I don't see why you need that center screw in 2023.
Well, it's like I was saying. I went and I looked at the type of covers they had. They had them with 3 screw and 2 screw.
Right.
So
you're saying if it has 3 screws, you have to use all 3?
I think some inspectors are going to make you. My argument would be they say, well, that's an opening there. Well, I can look at that box right there and see 2 others. So, I would argue that point with them. But I'd probably just put it in just to put it in. Just because. But
it's more like a 110, 110, 12. It's like neat and professional. It doesn't look sloppy.
Yeah.
So you could say it's more of like a neat and professional manner.
I just sort of looked at it. I was like, well, either way, it didn't matter to me, to be honest.
So we did a lot of these posts where we actually took, and I might even do one in the future where I used the top yoke mounting, and then I used the center one, and then I left the bottom one open. So I might do one in the future because I don't see why that would matter. You have 2 screws mounting it.
I don't know. I just don't. I think just put the screw in. I mean, It's no big deal. If it's an older installation, I think you could, let's say you go in and you change out the receptacle. and you maybe the receptacle's bad or whatever. What are you going to do at that point? You're going to add the 2 screws to it because you have to buy the new cover to put it in, or just go ahead and use the single screw that's there. I'd say that's perfectly fine.
Yeah, I don't see anyone getting failed for that. Like to me, I don't see the code like pushing you to require to replace that cover. It's a
Mm-mm.
piece of steel. Like how could it go bad? And then that listing and labeling, like, do they ever expire?
Well, at the
You
time
know,
it was installed, that is what they used,
right?
and that was the listing and labeling of the cover for that device. And I would say it was perfectly fine. All you're doing is changing out the receptacle, so I don't
So
see a problem with it.
now let's go in and see what OSHA would say about that listing and labeling with this audio I have.
Okay,
You know the rules.
I
Anything
know.
you don't like, let me know.
There was a change here. This is a big. I don't know if it's a big change. It's clarity, and I know this generates some challenges for people. But when you get instructions from a manufacturer for a product that seem to conflict with the National Electrical Code.
Stop. First of all, there's nothing that conflicts with the National Electrical Code.
True.
And I put something up here just in case we got into this, and I'm gonna actually share a screen. I want everybody to look at something here. So, and I know it's going to get into this. We've been over this before, but I want everybody to see what we're about to get into. Okay, this is going to fall back. I have a feeling what he's going to talk about. And this is where we're going to get in to 110.3b, talk about the installation and use. All right. Now, this is a good example. This is from chapter 1, which I'm almost finished with, for the code change publication. Now, what I want to look at is the illustration here. All right. Now, one of the things, and I point this out to everybody, this is why you have to know which type of code change book you want to go with. A lot of them, they just they take a picture or something and then they try to explain it to you. And,
Right.
I've told Jeremy this so many times, all them guys, he goes, oh, that's but an illustration. And I said, that one illustration has more information in it than everything that they wrote in II or anything else.
True.
And I'm going to prove this to you. Now, when you look at this, we have an NEC loop here for authority having jurisdiction, okay, by the code. Then we have an OSHA.
That was mentioned.
Well, I'm about to show you all of this. And this goes back to pulling a lot of stuff that I talk about when we get into this, is there's a lot of great information you have to be aware of. And we also have this OSHA loop for the OSHA inspector. Okay. Now, the statement he just made is that basically equipment that doesn't meet code. That is a false interpretation and statement.
True.
Okay. And I'm going to prove this to start off with this.
Well, we started that too. If it was a code violation, it wouldn't even get its listing.
That's exactly right. And right here is where it starts for everybody. Okay. And let me say this also. OSHA is federal. It overrules, period. There's no misinterpretation on this. Okay. So when you come in here, and this is what you're going to see in this program. Okay. Just to give you an idea how this works. I'm going to hover above this 1910.7, and I'm just going to click it. Okay. Now, here's the information right here that is important for people to follow.
What is 1910 cover?
It recovers the requirements for a NERDL, a nationally recognized testing laboratory.
Gotcha.
And then it talks about the laboratory requirements here. Okay. and that's in 7B. And it goes through, tells you all this that they need to follow and all that. But that's not what I'm going to get into. I want to get into C. Okay, so I'm going to scroll down to C. Okay, now.
And is that link that's in your publication?
This will be in the code change program. Matter of fact, this when you get it with the state update license, this is the type of stuff you're going to see. Okay.
Yeah. So just so everyone knows, King James jipped me on about 40 code changes, and I held his butt to the fire, and he gave it to everyone now. So Willie for the people here. So
I'm doing my best. Okay, now let's look at what it says in C1. It says, recognized in the United States as a safety standard providing an adequate level of safety and, listen to this, compatible with and maintained current with periodic revisions of applicable national codes and installation standards. So for them to get a listing and labeling for a piece of equipment, they have to follow they have to follow all standards, everything, make sure that this equipment is current with when they produce that equipment of the current code. So,
well, I want you to save a little bit of ammo for a little bit more because we get into OSHA here in about a minute.
Well, let me finish one thing.
Okay.
So then when you look at C3, and this is very, very important, it says that it's developed by a standards developing organization under a method providing for input and consideration of all types of use from industry groups, experts, users, consumers, governmental authorities, and others having broad experience in the safety field involved. So this means it just isn't somebody that's coming over that knows the equipment and all this, and it's also part of the National Electrical Code making process and all of this. They've got all kinds of people that are involved in this to set up those standards in order for it to become a listed and labeled piece of equipment, which covers all periodic revisions of any type of applicable national codes and installation standards. Now, that overrides NEC to start off with, okay? So we're going to start right there. I'm going to listen to the rest of this, but this is to get you in the right frame of mind to see we're showing you exactly based on 110.3B here, which deals with the installation and use of equipment. And then I'm going to talk about how the committee voted and show they don't even know what they're talking about and not complying with federal regulations.
True, and I do think that wallpaper's dope, by the way.
Oh, thanks.
Right.
You can't reduce the requirements that are found in the electrical code. For example, the big one is the GFCIs. I mean, we've all heard it, we've been there, we've done that. You'll see instructions that say, do not put this on a GFCI. And someone will say, well, I put it in my basement. Well, the receptacle needs to be GFCI protected. Well, the instructions say, do not put it on a GFCI circuit. So I'm not going to put it in, I'm not going to install GFCI protection on this branch circuit. Well, you can't do that, right?
Stop. That's wrong.
Yeah.
First of all, that piece of equipment was listed and labeled, and GFCI protection was taken into consideration. And that equipment's designed a certain way. And we have people that are on these standards that go in and develop to give the listing and labeling. If they state no GFCI protection, that was the National Electrical Code at the time was taken into consideration to make that assumption and determine that no GFCI protection would be required. Now, if they're going to come in and you're going to have like Dimitrovich come in and say, oh, no, that's got to be GFCI protection. Well, let me ask this question then. If that's the case and you're saying the code's going to override the installation standards they've already considered, who becomes responsible for that piece of equipment at that point?
Manufacturer.
That's right.
Well, the
Well, no,
manufacturer's
he's not
supposed
going to be if he told you not to.
Yeah.
And that's where the problem comes in. So who's going to take responsibility at that point? If
It's
I
not going to
was,
be NFPA, I guarantee that.
well, if I was an expert and I'm reading what they said, and I want to go right up here because I want everybody to see this.
So one thing you notice in that audio, just to kind of recap that, he's kind of tiptoeing around the rose bush a little bit because he says receptacles, receptacles, receptacles. He doesn't say outlets. So we kind of attacked that in 2026, and they are having a hard time with it.
Now, one of the things we put in here, we put a comment in here. Okay. Now, the reason that we did this, it's not our opinion at this point because we have to tell you what the code making panel substantiation was. But in green here, they say such instructions shall result in an installation and use that complies with the requirements within this code.
True.
Okay, don't agree. So we wrote what they said, we sort of correlated, to write it right. It says a revision has been made to clarify that the National Electrical Code supersede the product installation and use standards. This revision makes it clear that the product installation and use instructions shall not compromise safety and must also conform to the requirements of the National Electrical Code. Now, this is where my problem comes in. If they take the National Electrical Code into consideration and all of this, and they determine no GFCI protection there, this that they're writing here doesn't matter to me.
Sure.
Okay.
Well, the thing is that there's so much variables that we've already kind of went into when we were sitting there talking about this. So if you sit there and say, okay, let's just go off 62554. So 62554, that was my public input because I'm like, oh, you're sitting there saying over here there's outlets and they're just there. These outlets just exist on every branch circuit. They're just always there. But then over here at 62554, you only cover receptacles. Mm-hmm. And the code making panel was like, yeah, you're right, Bill, man, we need to put outlets in there, Mm-hmm. And so then they went and did it, and the Standards Council's like, what? No, we ain't doing that. So they rejected it. And so now, if you hardwire an EBSE outdoors, it does not require GFCI protection because you go back to that listed and labeling, and that does not cause a violation in the NEC.
That's right.
It doesn't matter. You could sit there and say, oh, it connects to an outlet per 210.8F, but you're wrong. Per the Standards Council, who are you going to go up of? The code-making panel members that were all overruled by the Standards Council? Or are you going to go up the Standards Council? I'm going up the Standards Council and OSHA. So, here we go. We'll keep going.
The answer would be, well, then put it somewhere else in the house where GFCI is not required. Hardwire it. If it's a receptacle requirement, you can, maybe the manufacturer makes a hardwired to an outlet, but don't cut the cord off, don't violate the listing, all that jazz. Find out if the manufacturer makes something that can be hardwired. That's another way. If there's a receptacle requirement and not an outlet requirement, things like.
So I just want to know why they're so concerned about violating the listing on cutting the cord when, oh yeah, you if you plug it in the receptacle, it has to be GFCI protected, but you can't cut the cord. That'd be violating the listing.
That's no point. That's picking and choosing. I noticed Jeremy, no, it's not. Won't you explain no, it's not what? Because I'm not sure what you're talking about. But
yeah, he's saying no, it's not wrong when you said that was wrong. What he said.
Oh yeah, it is. And well, let's just with that, let's just take a look. Which part was he saying? No, it's not. That the federal regulation doesn't overrule NEC?
When Tommy was sitting there saying that, it was basically saying it was wrong. You said that Tommy was wrong on what he said.
Oh, he is. All right. Now I want to show you something. I just want to look at the NEC for a second. Okay. And I'm just going to break these down so everybody can see, and I'm going to explain exactly what they're telling you here. And then I'm going to show OSHA, and you're going to see sort of the exact same layout. Okay? So when I look at 90.7, this is your examination of equipment for safety. Okay? And it says when you're talking about specific items of equipment and materials referred to in this section, examinations for safety made under standard conditions provide a basis for approval where the record is made generally available through promulgation by organizations properly equipped and qualified for experimental testing, inspections of the run of goods at factories, and serve value determination through field inspections. Okay?
Why did
Now,
Tommy have to bring it up in his podcast then if it had nothing to do with the NEC?
that's exactly right. But we're going to get to a little bit more here. Just hold on. So then I go and I look at 110.3 A, B, and C. And I can go through A examination, but when you're looking at A, that's mainly where you're tying it in, where you're dealing with custom-made equipment more than anything. Okay? So we want to look mainly at B. All right? Now let's see what B talks about for installation and use. It says equipment that is listed, labeled, or both are identified for use shall be installed and used in accordance with any instructions. It tells you with any instructions included in the listing, labeling, or identification. Okay?
Sure.
So if they told you no GFCI protection, guess what? No GFCI protection. But then they turn around and they say such instructions shall result in an installation use that complies with the requirements within this code. Now, we've already looked over at 1910.7C2, and when you looked at that, they said the listing and labeling when they're doing this, that it is done in a manner that is in compliance with C1, which deals with any revisions, anything made to the electrical codes and installation standards.
True.
Okay?
And that's the whole thing too. Like if they say, if the NEC says, oh yeah, you need GFCI protection for outdoor outlets, and then all of a sudden they go, oh yeah, that's not an outlet. Like, dude, honestly, I'd go to the inspector and be like, I didn't install an outlet.
Well, and it goes back, and I'm going to show some stuff. It's like Ryan that come on, he goes, oh, I've looked all in the code everywhere. I couldn't find anything that talked about the requirements for NERDLs. No kidding, Ryan. We had to show you that too because you're not an expert, like I've said over and over, and you need to understand how to conform and apply the other standards in order to apply the code properly in a lot of instances, which Jeremy says OSHA doesn't apply to anything, which he doesn't know what he's talking about. But when I look at the approval of the equipment, or approval from the HJ, and that's what it says, the conductors and equipment required or permitted by this code shall be acceptable only if approved. And you go look at the definition of approved, it says acceptable to authority having jurisdiction. Now, when you come in and you look at this here, I started this off, look at where? 90.7, then 110.3, and then it tells you to go to note 2 and then look at these definitions for approved, identified, labeled, and listed, which I'm going to explain how all that works here in just a second too.
Okay.
So let's look first at approved, acceptable to authority having jurisdiction. Nobody disagrees with that. Okay. Then you look at identified. We put identified here for a reason because identified is different than looking at equipment that is listed and labeled. Okay. And it's identified.
You said OSHA doesn't apply to anything in the National Electric Code, dumbass.
Really, let me give you a history lesson so you can learn something here. Okay, this is another point where he doesn't know what he's talking about. Okay, when you look at 70E when it first started. What was 70E? Matter of fact, how was 70E laid out, Jeremy? I would love to hear if you even have any clue how that was laid out. This right here is why everybody needs to watch this podcast, because you get people on here that just start spouting off that are really nothing but simps for Mike, Ryan, and Paul and them. And they start mouthing off and they don't know how things took place.
That's what you said, Jeremy. You said OSHA has nothing to do with the NEC. And then King James said, Jeremy says OSHA doesn't apply to anything. It's the same exact thing.
Yes,
what
it
he
does.
said.
Now, when you get into the safety aspect of it, when you looked at, and then I'm gonna give you some guidance here, Jeremy. Go look at OSHA 1910.302 through 308. It's going to have some dates on there that had to deal with the NEC. And for people watching this, let me explain how this works. You're going to get a date that's March 15th, 1972. Now, the reason I know all these dates and everything, because we were the first to come in and we put together an OSHA publication, and we were requested by Joe Pipkin, who was over the electrical portion of OSHA at the time, asked us to write this publication. Okay. And we based it on 1910, 302 through 308. And then that's what the 70E document was based on. And the problem that we had, the reason the 70E document got started in the first place is because OSHA was updating everything about every 10, 12 years, 15 years, something like that, their standards. So they put in a request to NFPA to start the 70 committee, which my dad was on. He started when it all got started, and I worked under him as his alternate. And when we put that in, it took certain stuff out of the National Electrical Code that had to be looked at. And then we took every 3 years and we updated the 70E standard that was used as a remedial standard by OSHA to enforce their own regulations. That's how it was set up. And then eventually we got into the arc blast, and all this other stuff and doing the shock protection and all of that. So that's how it got started. But right before that, March 15th, 1972, they basically, OSHA said any electrical equipment that was installed before that date was grandfathered in. End of discussion, didn't matter what code you're at or anything. And then everything from March 15th, 1972 to April 16th, 1981, you got in that date right there, if you did 50% more remodel within the building, it had to be brought up to the standard code. And then everything after that point was up to code, whatever was required at the time. That's how the OSHA standard was put together. And then when you get in and you start looking at identified as applied equipment, it says recognizable as suitable for the specific function, purpose, use, environment, application, and so forth were described in particular code requirements.
True.
Okay, so let's take a look. Let me explain by the information note what they're talking about here.
Hey, I'm gonna do a little timeout just really quick. Weedman says we only have 3 people watching. I want to do a big shout out. 3 people out there. Thanks for tuning in. We got 4 people over on Rumble. That's pretty awesome. And I just want to give a big shout out to the city of Denver electricians over there. I told them I'd give them a big shout out, especially Ben Holt. And then I'm going to give a big shout out to Local 68, IBEW over here in Denver.
Okay.
They're over here watching too, so
right.
Pretty awesome. And then we have David Englehart jumping in, and thanks for coming in, David. Yeah, appreciate it.
So then it gets in the information of what it says. Some examples of ways to determine suitability of equipment for a specific purpose, environment, or application include investigations by a qualified testing laboratory, which deals with what? Listing and labeling, and inspection agency or other organizations concerned with product evaluation. Now, why do they have an inspection agency or other organizations concerned with product evaluation? Because what happens is, say you're in the field and you're dealing with hazardous locations. A lot of the stuff that they use in hazardous locations is custom built because a lot of stuff they can't buy. And mainly what happens, and I've done this many times where we worked out in the oil patches out in Alaska, here in Houston area, where they couldn't find something. And these guys, they're out there, they've dealt with this hazardous location for God, no telling how many years. and they will work with the testing laboratories, inspection agencies, whoever, and they have documentation to explain how they're designing certain equipment.
They don't have
Okay.
to own a code book, Jeremy, because they watch our show.
That's right. So this gives you an idea of what they're talking about right here. Now I want to show you another thing here. Now let's go look at OSHA. Okay. When I go look at 1910.303A, well, let's just see if we tie this in exactly with sort of what the codes require. It says the conductors and equipment required or permitted by this subpart shall be acceptable only if approved as defined in 1910.399. Now, when I look at 1910.303A, that's where I told you the dates start 1910.302, then you get 303 through 308. And this is where you start getting into this, and it talks about the conductors and equipment required or permitted by this subpart, which is subpart S, shall be only approved if as defined in 310 or 1910.399. Now let's
all right.
look.
I want to do it.
Hold on, I just want to finish this up.
Okay. I just want to do a timeout because that's what the audio goes into next.
Well, this is going to tear them apart, and you can't argue this right here. So let's see the definitions applicable to this subpart, and I only put the ones in here that applied to this listing and labeling. And
that's a really good point. All the IBEW, and they could just go on the link there, David.
That's right. So let's look at acceptable. An installation or equipment is acceptable to the Assistant Secretary of Labor and approved within the meaning of this subpart S. So let's look what acceptable is. If it is accepted or certified or listed or labeled or otherwise determined to be safe by a nationally testing laboratory recognized pursuant to which section again? 1910.7.
Right.
Okay. Then it says, with respect to an installation or equipment of a kind that no nationally recognized testing laboratory accepts, certifies, lists, labels, or determined to be safe, if it is inspected or tested by another federal agency or by a state, municipal, or other local authority responsible for enforcing occupational safety provisions of the National Electrical Code and found in compliance with the provisions of the National Electrical Code as applied in this subpart. Now, that's where you're getting into some custom-made equipment and things like that. And that's and it's going to break it down in 3 about the custom-made equipment. But what they're doing here is giving you options here and basically saying that if I'm a municipality, state, or local authority, and I look at the listing and labeling, they tell me no GFCI protection, it really doesn't matter what anybody thinks at that point.
True.
Okay?
Yeah, they go after a homeowner, Jeremy.
Sure. Let's look. With respect to custom-made equipment or related installations that are designed, fabricated for, and intended for use by a particular customer, if it is determined to be safe for its intended use by its manufacturer on the basis of test data, which the employer keeps and makes available for inspection to the Assistant Secretary and his authorized representatives. That goes back once again, like I was saying, they can go out any time and look at this equipment.
True.
Okay?
Yeah.
Now, here's where you're going to start getting the final breakdowns on this stuff. So accepted. An installation is accepted if it has been inspected and found by a national recognized laboratory to conform with specific plans or to procedures of applicable codes. Well, we just looked at the first of this, and they told you had to do it based on what? 1910.7.
Sure.
Then it says approved, acceptable to who? The authority enforcing this subpart. The authority enforcing this subpart is the Assistant Secretary label for occupational safety and health. The definition of acceptable indicates where it is acceptable to the Assistant Secretary label and therefore approved within the meaning of this subpart. And then they get into certified. And this is interesting because when you go and you look, when they were dealing with the EVSC and you had the Standards Council come in, They told you to look at the certification of the product. That is a fact. And then it said equipment is certified if it bears a label, tag, or other record of certification that the equipment, watch this, has been tested and found by a national testing laboratory to meet nationally recognized standards or to be safe for use in a specified manner. Now, if they design that equipment and they look at it and they've made all this done all the testing and everything and said no GFCI protection, who is the go-making panel to come in and say, no, you're going to put GFCI protection on it when they did no testing, submitted no documentation or anything to prove their point? But yet the manufacturer went in and did everything.
Hey, good night, David. Thanks so much for joining. David's in another Zoom meeting and stuff, so he can't really watch too much. But appreciate you. Your comments are coming up in the audio here coming up because that was a lot of really good comments that David had in the live stream the other day.
Sure. And now watch this. Is of a kind whose production is periodically inspected by a national recognized testing laboratory and is accepted by the laboratory as safe for its intended use. Now, it's showing you right there, they have to go through all of this, and then we get some yahoos that go on some of these code-making panels, and all of a sudden, they're smarter than the rest of them. But watch this. Identified as applied equipment. Now watch. Approved by who? The jurisdiction. Right. As suitable for the specific purpose, function, use, environment, or application were described in a particular requirement. And then they put a note to it. Some examples of ways to determine suitability of equipment for a specific person, environment, or application. Now watch this. Includes investigations. They got to go out and do investigations on this by a nationally recognized testing laboratory through doing what? Listing and labeling, inspection agency, or other organizations recognized under the definition of acceptable.
So and then that's only for workplace, right?
Yeah, right. And then you get in and you get into your labeled and listed, and what is well, I'll just look at listed. Equipment is listed if it's a kind mentioned in a list that what? Is published by a national recognized testing laboratory that makes periodic inspection of the production of such equipment and states that such equipment, watch this, meets nationally recognized standards or has been tested and found safe for use in a specified manner. Right. Now, I don't know how you can go any other way looking at that and say that it isn't clear that the equipment, if they're telling you to do something, how the code overrides all that stuff they have to do in order to be considered a listed and labeled piece of equipment.
All right, well, you're about ready to hear it.
Those sort of drove the clarity of 110.3b. That's what the motivating factor was. And
so the motivating factor was you're not going to put it on GFCI.
And we have this conflict. You could create a great example was I had an electrical inspector.
They were talking about something different.
I see Ken is saying something. OSHA requires people to follow manufacturer's instructions per 1910.303. Will this conflict with 110.3's new change? Ooh! All right, people. Ken. Okay, Ken, you would, wouldn't you? OSHA.
He says, you would, wouldn't you? But it's funny because this is another, colleague of Tommy D that's like, man, I could see this conflicting,
Can I answer some of these real quick?
Sure, absolutely.
Because I was on my binge going and trying to explain to everybody.
Yeah.
For workplace safety, somebody working on their home is not a workplace. OSHA does not apply. You don't know what the hell you're talking about, Jeremy. Anytime you're doing any electrical work, you apply workplace safety.
True.
That's a fact. It doesn't matter if it's a home, commercial, residential. Let me ask you this: is residential any different from a single-family home and a multi-family home, where I have apartments and stuff?
No.
That still falls under what? Residential. You're going to tell me you're going to pick and choose where you want to apply the workplace safety?
Sure.
Anytime you're working anything energized, if I go in a house, I'm working on something and I need to de-energize the circuit, do I need to put locking tags on it and verify that it's de-energized?
Okay.
Sure you can. You've got to do that. I mean, this makes no sense. And then he asks here, he says we're bitching out, not answering. I'm going to answer them for him. So again, you claim that OSHA can cite a homeowner. Nobody said anything about citing a homeowner, Jeremy, or a single contractor. But if you have 2 or more employees, you have to follow. I've read this to you before. And this, I want everybody to pay attention that's watching this video. This is what these guys do. They come in and they try to pick certain little things to make it like we don't know what we're talking about, and OSHA doesn't apply at these spots. And we took on the groups. He asked the same thing, and I showed him. I said, if I have 2 or more go out there, yes, I can take as OSHA, and I can have OSHA enforce at that location.
So OSHA is like a federal standard, so that'd be like the same thing as saying I don't have to comply with my employees having breaks because it's not federal standard. But guess what? The state's gonna get you, the AHJ is gonna get you, all these other places are gonna get you. So why are you focused on that?
Yeah,
I don't get that.
Well, see what happened.
Oh, I could violate the federal standard because it doesn't apply. That's so stupid.
Let me explain what happened when this all took place. He said, can OSHA be enforced at a residential? I said, yeah, it sure can. He goes, no, it can. I said, yeah, it can, Jeremy. And then he brought it up and tried to twist it around like I said that they can go out and find homeowners. I said, no, Jeremy. And I went in and I showed him the screenshot where to go and everything, and then he tried twisting it around. And this is exactly why. And let me explain something. He finds something that he wants to argue about, but he's not commenting. And this just goes to show he's a little simp for Ryan and Thomas Dimitrovich and Mike and Paul, all them guys. We're sitting here showing you.
Yeah, show us the screenshots of you calling out Ryan, calling out Mike, calling out Paul, saying that they don't know what they're talking about. That's the screenshots I want to see because I haven't seen those yet.
And this is coming from the guy that said, oh, I don't even know Ryan Jackson. And then I showed him a picture of them together. He goes, well, I don't know him that well. I was like, see, you're nothing but a liar, Jeremy.
Yeah, we're gonna move on.
Yeah, move on. Screw him.
1910.303. Let's take a look at what it says.
So it's 1910.303.2b, I believe, to be exact.
And I'm gonna go to the iPad. All right, so I just did a Google search. 1910.303.
Hey, Jeremy, why don't you go look up 1910.303.2b and then tell me like what it says.
So here's 1910. This is OSHA. Occupational 1910 subpart S. The conductors and equipment required or permitted by the subpart shall be acceptable only if approved. 1910.303B is examination. Electric equipment shall be free of recognized hazards. Safety of equipment shall be determined using the following equipment considerations. Suitability for installation. Suitability evidenced by listing or labeling. Identified purpose. Mechanical strength, wire bending, electrical insulation, arcing effects, classified, blah, 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 blah.
Can we stop right there?
Installation and use. Listing or label equipment shall be installed and used in accordance with any instructions. Okay. Included in the listing or labeling.
There it is.
Now, let me stop there. First of all, let me explain. This is once again somebody speaking on OSHA. He doesn't know what he's doing. And the reason I know this, because he's looking over in 303B1, he's reading everything that's in there. 303B1 is what I was talking about earlier. That's where you're going to deal with when I was showing the illustration, and you're looking over at 110.3A. Okay, and they use that right there from the code to help them when they're doing custom made type of equipment. Okay, that's what 303 B1 is. And then when you go down and you pick up B2, this is where it's going to get to the installation and use. That's going to tie in with 110.3B. Okay,
Gotcha.
so that's where all this is going, and talking about the listing and labeling.
And the guy who made this comment is a colleague of Tommy, electrical engineer, and he's saying that he thinks it's going to conflict. So here we go.
You see this right here? That is critical, Ken. And why I say that's critical is because, and this is the challenge that we have as an industry. You don't know as a manufacturer, when a manufacturer publishes instructions, we make an assumption that everything in those instructions are required by the UL standard. That's not the case.
Oh, stop. That is not right. That is not there. Nobody makes that assumption but the people that are trying to push an agenda. Okay? Because OSHA, there's no ambiguity here. It literally says listed or labeled equipment shall be installed and used in accordance with what? Any instructions that are included in the listing or labeling. Yeah. And the federal regulations overriding that. Yeah. Period. 100%. And basically, this is why I went through all the definitions and everything, and they referred you back to where in order to determine this. 1910.7.
True. Yep.
Okay, go ahead.
And that's the difficulty that we have. But the way they say this, in accordance with any instructions included in the listing or labeling. So if I add in my product instructions, do not put this on a GFCI. That's not a part of the listing or labeling.
Stop right there. Oh my God.
That's not part.
It literally says that it's included in the listing or labeling. That is part of it. I'm going to tell you, oh my God, I can't believe he just said that.
Which that's not required.
Who does he work for again?
Eaton, I believe.
Eaton, what do they make?
GFCIs.
There you go.
Now, when you come to this, and
he has GFCI everything in his house, by the way, just letting you know.
That is 1910 303B2. So when you run into an instance that says the instructions say do not put this on a GFCI, but the code says this needs to be GFCI protected. Let's say, for example, let's say that my computer, that Apple says this computer shall not be installed on a GFCI protected circuit. I could see that in the instructions. If I went to my inspector and said, hey, per OSHA 1910 303B2, it says I can't put this on a GFCI, so I'm not going to protect this circuit that I'm going to have this computer on. Okay? What the inspector would then do is tell you, all right, let's go take a look at the listing and labeling. Let's find out what is required per the listing and labeling in those markings.
Yeah, one thing that's required is not put it on GFCI for it to function.
Which is why UL, I know UL used to publish, and they still do, if you go to...
See, and that's another thing. Then he brings up UL, and it's like, dude, UL overrules the code. So it's like, there's a hierarchy here. It goes OSHA, then it goes UL, then it goes NEC. And he's trying to say NEC trumps all of that. If I'm reading it right, but I don't know.
This, the product IQ, you'll find in many cases a marking guide I don't know. There's the UL mark. There's the requirements, additional information. I'm just looking at a PCS. But you can go here in the guide information as a good starting point. But you may have to make a phone call to the listing agent to find out what is required by the product standard to be included in the instructions. That's why OSHA.
That is not true. You don't have to call anybody. The information is already there.
True.
They're telling you what to do. He is trying to twist this around, and basically, let me explain exactly what he's saying to y'all. Okay? He's saying if I go over and I look at C2 and C3, he's basically telling you that this listing and labeling that was developed by a standards organization, and they do this under method that provides for input and consideration of all the different views of industry groups, experts, users, consumers, governmental authorities, or anybody else in the electrical safety field that has broad experience on that product, that has to be compatible with and maintained with current periodic revisions of applicable national codes and installation standards. He's basically, what he's saying here is they didn't do their job right. That's basically what he's saying.
I agree with that. I agree. Yeah.
Unbelievable.
I knew you'd love it.
Put that information included in the listing or labeling. If the UL standard does not require you to put that in your installation instructions, and the manufacturer just added it because they don't want the headache of being called about tripping a GFCI, that would not be something that OSHA would say you need to enforce.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. There's a headache of tripping a GFCI. No, it's not about that. It's about killing old people that are dying from heat exhaustion, Tommy.
Let me say this. Did you just make the statement, Tommy, that the people that designed the standards and everything, the test by and all that they just put something together that wasn't safety compliant? Is that what you just suggested to everybody?
Oh, they just don't want a headache to get called at 3 a.m. because of GFCI trip.
No. How about this, Tommy? How about your own code-making panel, too? How about you explain to everybody how y'all put 210.8F in when you didn't have the technical merit to do it, and how you as a code-making panel did not take and go in and look to see if there was any compatibility issues or anything before you put a section in like that, or in that case, a subsection, that required all these GFC requirements, and then come back months later, and then you do a TIA and have to say something about an air conditioner unit. Why don't you explain that to everybody?
That was a result of a death that there was no substantiation based on the code change.
Dang right.
It's the end. This is the last one. You'll love this one.
Well, NEC covers new installs, so the OSHA doc should be 1926, not 1910. Not that it will clear up your question.
What he just say there? That would be based on 1926?
Yeah, he said 1926 covers new installs.
Okay, let me explain something here. This is somebody speaking about something. You need to call him out, Jeremy. I don't know what to tell you. But 1926 deals with construction. That's subpart K. That's your electrical portion. That's construction. Subpart S deals with your general industry, and it doesn't make any difference if it's a new installation or old installation. He does not know his OSHA documents. I don't even know why he's speaking on something he doesn't know about.
Yeah, it's just people in the comments.
That's a good point. David Engelhardt, the instructions need to be part of the standard. That's what I was looking for. So David went there right away. I skipped a few of these.
Yeah, so the ones he skipped were mine. Saying, like, how do you explain how the Standards Council overruled the code-making panel And all the work the code making panel did to put outlets in there, and the Standards Council just bam, snapped their fingers, overturned it.
Can I ask a question? Who was he doing this for Eaton, or was he doing this for IEI?
IEI.
See, this is an embarrassment to IEI because they're an inspection authority that works with the inspectors. They should be embarrassed by what he's saying right here.
Well, they're not inspection authority anymore. I think they're the electrical authority now or something.
Well, they're definitely not the electric. They should be embarrassed as the apparent electrical authority.
Yeah. Oh no, you'll love this.
Yep. 1910-303B2. Okay, there were a lot of comments coming in, which I think there's a requirement for that.
Yeah, there's a lot coming in because you don't know what you're talking about.
Willie says, the AHJ has the power to go off the listing of the EBSC and GSF protection is not required and hardwired regardless of it. No, I don't agree with that. Well, I agree with you. The AHJ has the power to do, because they're the authority having jurisdiction.
So basically what I said was, I said the AHJ has the authority to go off the listing and labeling of the EBSE, and the basically it doesn't matter, but the way the Standards Council ruled, it doesn't matter where you install it. If you go off the listing and labeling of EBSE and it says do not put on GFCI when hardwired, and you're not required to put it on GFCI when hardwired, then you're not required to put it on GFCI when hardwired. Doesn't matter if it's outdoor, doesn't matter if 210.8 applies. It's so weird that he just has to push this. Like, it's done.
And you said GFCI protection is not required when hardwired, regardless of location, and I disagree with that. You can't.
Well, wait.
You
Why
can't-
do you disagree with it? Are you saying once again that all these experts and everybody that are doing these standards for UL and doing all this enforcement and all these NERDLs or QTLs, qualified testing, or whatever you want to call them, they're going out doing all these testing with all these different experts? Are you saying that they don't know what they're doing? Is that what, don't be a coward. Call them up and tell them they don't know what they're doing all of a sudden.
Sure.
They've been doing this as long as I've been in it. And as a chief electrical inspector for the city of Grapevine many, many years ago, if I saw listing and labeling, I never overrode it. Nobody ever did.
Yeah.
Now, all of a sudden, you're trying to tell everybody that the governing bodies that are set up under the OSHA rules, which is a federal regulation, and their standards and everything they're using is wrong, and that you people on the code making panel are smarter than all the rest of them that actually do the testing and everything. That's basically what he just said. I'm going to say this. Any on Rumble here, wherever, anybody seeing this podcast, y'all need to share this podcast to see what's going, so people hear what's going on.
That's for you, Daniel.
This is one reason that we do this podcast, is to call things like this out, and hope like one guy, he said, y'all are sort of like the Trumps. Everybody hates y'all. Well, the reason they do, because we're showing you what it says, and I have expertise.
And we're not backing down by these people trying to kick us out of their groups and whatever. I don't care. Like, kick me out of all your groups. I don't want to be an ECD boy. Fuck you guys.
Yeah, and that's part of the problem. That's why you got people like Jeremy come on here and attack, and try to say stuff, and then he does all these posts in groups and saying,
he tries to say I'm like a racist and a bigot and everything, and it's just like, whatever, dude. Like you're supposed to be part of the union. You're supposed to accept every.
Well, let me tell you about him, and this will show you exactly. We went. Oh, this has been probably 10, 15 years ago. We went to. They have a thing that's down in Ann Arbor where they have all their instructors come in. And we got a booth down there, and we were showing our stuff, and our booth was freaking packed the whole time we were there for 2 days. Then the next year come around, we had all this cool stuff we developed and all this. And
Jeremy, if you're a racist and a bigot, that's a you problem, not a me problem, man. You need to work on that.
And when we went to apply, they allowed everybody else to show up, but guess who they didn't allow to show up? they wouldn't let us take a booth out or anything. And the guy that did it was Palmer Hickman. And then those guys, supposed to be the good union brothers over there, they went in, it used to be NJTC, which was the National Joint Apprenticeship and Training Committee. I went through that school. I know all about it. I went through local 116. Now down here it's local 58, I think, or 59, something like that.
Okay.
But then they actually broke off as ETA, and ETA was actually trying to sell their program to the non-union. That's your good union brothers there. So when they sat here and talk about it, and I sat there and I told Jeremy that, he goes, "You got proof of that?" I said, yeah.
He doesn't have to show the proof because his dad was sitting right there, and you just hung up the phone right away. So
you know, it's unbelievable. And I told him, I said, "Go ask Palmer Hickman." I said, "Tell him I said so." I said, "He knows what he did." That's why, you know, I have a problem with a lot of this. And I like people to hear the truth of things that have happened out there. And if what I'm saying is wrong, they would sue me, but they know I'm telling the truth, and I'll get the people in that says, yeah, they did it. They won't take me to court, and I'm going to sue them back for take me to court over something false.
Jeremy, we've showed you proof after proof after proof of all our claims, and you just act like they never happened.
Oh, no, he doesn't do that. He changes the subject and goes to something else.
Dude, 625.54b was deleted. That was my public input, and it means that 210.8f turned into a boat anchor, and that's what I wanted, and it happened. So,
well, you know what's funny about that? Same thing happened. Soon as the code-making panel voted on it, they were posting on there saying, "You're wrong. See the code-making panel." I said, "It ain't going to stay." I said, when it gets to Standards Council, they don't have the technical merit to do it and all that. And soon as it went there, it happened. Then, of course, what happened? The sound of silence.
Oh, yeah.
And those are facts. Anybody that's been following along in the groups and listening to their comments and stuff, you know exactly the type of people like Jeremy, Fritz, God, I can't even remember them all. There's so many. Myers, God.
Mills,
Bowers. All of them come in there, and they're all from the ECD over there, and they come over, started attacking. Now nobody goes over their thing anymore because they realize that they push their agenda, and if you don't agree with them, they delete you or they attack you.
Dude, did you see that video where there was it was like a military vet, and he was just walking around with his flags, and they all started like putting like horns in his face.
Oh yeah, he flipped over.
And then he just started knocking them out one after the other. Like that's what I did with them guys. I was just like bam, 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 and they were just dropping like flies. And now they're all mad at me, you know. And
well, I think something that's important. I think everybody should take and share this on their timelines, everything that's in the electrical to other electrical personnel, because you have to. You know, if you don't get it out there for people here, they're just going to keep pushing.
Yeah, and I mean, if you go and show like a whole entire state of Texas is glorified ditch diggers, all the electricians in this whole state of Texas are glorified ditch diggers.
Yeah, he said that.
I mean,
this is Jeremy Weed, everybody. Let's introduce you here. Any of y'all from Texas? Let me tell you, you boys from Texas, y'all are nothing but a bunch of dumb, glorified ditch diggers.
100%. And then
that's what he said.
Even a guy from Colorado that's saying they're stupid, you know, like, you know, I mean, I guess maybe you're racist, dude. I don't know. I don't know what to say, you know. I mean,
yeah, all them women electricians that are here, he just
I guess you just admit it now, Jeremy. All right.
Yep. See,
cool.
He's telling you, that's what he thinks.
All right,
and that
cool.
this is a guy. He's up in Minnesota. He has his elitist attitude up there, and everybody down there in the South are nothing but a bunch of dumb rednecks, which he's called us that too, and trailer trash and all of this. That's what he is.
Oh, it's just talking trash. It's not racist. Oh, all right, cool. Yeah, whatever. You just sit up there in your little elitist office up there in Minnesota and just change the toilet paper and the paper towels over there at the union hall like you do every time. Like, you don't have to know any code, so, good that you're not on the 2026 yet up there. Like,
And let me say this also, people are listening. When I was coming through the trade, this was back in 1982, is when I started, right out of high school. And I'm going to say this, might piss some people off, but it was a fact back then. Even my dad will say it. The union was one of the highest standards to go through to get through their school and stuff. They had really good school and everything. The non-union schools back at that time, they wasn't there. They were just getting started, really. Now, I will say this. I've seen the training of some of the different places like IEC, Faith Technologies, and I'm going to say this. Their training is just good, if not better, than what the union provides now. So it doesn't matter. You belong union, whatever. You're getting good training if you belong to any of them organizations and you go through 4 years. That's a fact.
Yeah, no, that's true. And the thing, I think that the IBEW has a lot of problems when it comes to, like, so this is a good example. Like, so my apprentice is like, man, I'm really not happy with the work conditions. I'm not happy with, like, what you have me do and stuff. So he's like, I'm going union. I'm like, all right. He's already got 2 years in the IEC. And I was like, cool. I was like, you're free to leave, man. I was like, those guys come recruiting once a month,
Sure they do.
And I was like, minute they come over there recruiting, I was like, you go over there and you join their son bitches,
What's this? So James can't even size a feeder. Really? Have you seen our publications? Jeremy, I want to show you.
Nobody disagreed with it for all these years, so now all of a sudden you're the master.
This where it gets funny. We even show you how to do a feeder, Jeremy, where you have an extremely large motor load in order to take and size the overcurrent device could change the size. I bet y'all don't teach that in your school.
No, they don't even know that.
And not only that, we even show you how to take, Jeremy, and I've never seen this in another book, but we show you not only how to consider the transformer, but we also show you doing the feeder, and based on the altitude that you're in, how to adjust that amperage. Sure. And we show you also how to do it in a motor. And I'll show you. I'll just ask him this question. Jeremy, which altitude affects which more? The transformer or the motor? Let's see if he knows that.
Dude, look who it is. It's Super Bowl Broncos.
Hey, buddy.
What's up, man? What's
Good
up,
to see you back, brother.
Man? Nice, man. Popped in to just remind me that the Broncos are going to the Super Bowl.
That's a good question there. Does for the rating for altitude, does it affect a motor or transformer more, Jeremy? Oh, see, he says what? See, he says what because he doesn't know.
Yeah, because he's deaf.
But he'll tell you, I don't know how to do this and that, which he doesn't know what he's talking about. But in our publication, I can tell you which one it is because we've actually done the calculation. And I'm giving him a little bit of time here. I'm waiting to hear. He says, I can't even hear you. Over Bill yelling. Okay, Bill, be quiet. Okay, Jeremy, listen, I'm going to give you the question again. I know you're probably trying to Google it right now. What does the altitude for the rating for the altitude affect the motor or transformer more? Come on, Jeremy, you're the great instructor and you're so much smarter than me. Go ahead and answer. I can tell you which one it is. I already know because I've actually done these type of calculations before.
The timer's ticking.
But see, this is what I'm trying to tell everybody is you can go look at all of these and let me explain why
we're waiting. They haven't heard it.
Jeremy comes over here and he tries to tell me because he does not want. He said it's the transformer. You are wrong, son. And I tell you what, I will take and provide the calculation on one of the groups now that I've got the screenshot. Let me get it. I've got the screenshot here. And we will take Jeremy and I will do a post to show you that it isn't the transformer, it is actually the motor it affects more. Okay, so that answered that. But see, that's what I like to point out to people here. When you're looking at publications and getting all the right information and stuff, it can be something as simple as this right here. And I'm gonna show this one more time, then we're gonna wrap this up. This is getting a little ridiculous. But right here, you have this set up to where you can come in, and Jeremy has already made the comment, oh, well, the IAI book, it has more text than yours. And I tried to tell him, this one illustration contains more information than everything that they wrote into that change. And that's why we put this in here. And this will be available probably about April, I'm thinking.
Okay.
In April, you'll be able to come in and get this course online, and you can come through and you can check everything. So if I wanted to look and see about this installation and use, and I wanted to see what the OSHA federal regulations are and see what they require here as it relates to dealing with the listing and labeling and who is involved and what revisions they have to apply that are maintained current with applicable national codes and installation area. It tells you all that information right here. And I will tell you, you won't find another program that's going to show you that.
And you have to look at Willie in 2020. Like, the path was really tough, but 2026, you guys will have the code change, and
Broncos country.
Broncos country will be riding.
Broncos country. Let's ride.
So, Broncos country, we're gonna be riding on Saturday. It's gonna be an awesome game.
I want to say something. I enjoyed that, Mitt.
Awesome.
I think it was important.
It was really thorough, man.
To go through it so everybody can see. And as you can tell, nobody's disagreeing because everything's in black and white telling you what's required. The only people that come on here and complain is Jeremy. And then of course his other ECD boys, if they were on here, they'd be complaining too. But if you pay attention to what we just showed here, we gave you a good outline for you to look at and see who you agree with here. And, it's in black and white. I don't know what else to say. I mean, it's there for you to make your decisions and determine if we're right or we're wrong.
Yeah, and I want to say that myth is 100% busted. It's really crazy because this went exactly the way I wanted it to when it comes to that raised industrial cover. And it was really funny because I love how your response was on this. Because, like, can they make you put 3 screws in? Yeah, probably. Is it really worth a fight to be like, I'm not putting 3 screws in, you know? Like, the code says put 2 screws in. If the listing and labeling says put 3 screws in, put 3 screws in, you know? To me, it's a really weird argument, you know? Because, like, it was funny because Ben Holt, one of my buddies, love you, Ben. He's such a cool, such a good electrician. He's been over there at DIA for a while. He's like, hey, Bill. He's like, hey, I want to ask you a code question. I was like, yeah. He goes, how many screws do I need for this raised industrial cover? I was like, 2. And he goes, nope, 3. And then he shows me the handbook. And I'm like, oh, that's just opinion by NECA, you know?
Well, and that's why we go through all this. It's because we want everybody to see exactly where we're coming from. And that's one reason they hate this podcast is because,
I mean, it's cool that they blow up the comment section and put up, like, so stupid things that is, like, not even close to right because...
This isn't... a calculation I did, and it was if I'm mistaken, it was a 10-foot tap, and the 50 amp is the minimum you can put on there, Jeremy. It tells you, you take it and divide it by 10. That gives you 50 amps. That's your minimum. Then you go up. And if you go all the way up to 500 amp for the wire size and everything, it's no longer a tap.
True.
Okay. And we've taught that at NFPA. God, I can't tell you how many times we went over all the taps.
Well, then,
Matter of fact, to make this,
there's another thing too, that if it's a 10-foot tap, it's at 10%, and then if it's a 25-foot tap, you go at 1/3.
Sure. Well, let me explain it to everybody so they understand. Now, this is what he's talking about here. Okay. And when you go over and you look at this, we're telling you you've got a 10-foot tap, and upstream you have a 500 amp overcurrent protection device. Okay. So when you go over and you look at Article 240, and I'm just, what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to ad lib this. I won't have it exactly word for word, but I'm going to ad lib basically what it says. It's going to talk about the length of the tap conductors where it doesn't exceed 10 foot, and then it's going to tell you, and this is over in 240.21B1 where you pick up feeder taps.
You're like, I can't believe you're an instructor for the
Well, and let me explain. Man. It tells you you have to comply with certain requirements. Okay, but the one that you're gonna get into is going to be B14, and it's going to talk about where you have field installations, and it's going to talk about where the tap conductors, where they leave the enclosure vault in which you make a tap. It's going to tell you that the ampacity of those tap conductors is not less than 1/10 of the rating of the overcurrent protection device protecting the feeder conductors.
True.
Okay. So when you pick that up and you take that 1/10, that's where we come up with dividing it by 10. True. Okay. 1/10 is 10. So you take the 10 divided into the 500 amps, that's 50 amps. So the minimum size when you're sizing that overcurrent device and your conductors, it's going to tell you, if you go over to table 310.16, you pick up the 75 degree C column, come down, you'll hit 50 amps. It's going to tell you it's a number 8 conductor. And then based on the size of those conductors that are carrying that ampacity, you're going to have a 50 amp. And if you take 50 times 10, we're verifying the size based on the conductor ampacity. That's 500 amp. That's the way you calculate a 10-foot tap.
Dude, Jeremy, how many times do we have to tell you, you can protect the conductor, you can protect the load? That's like literally you're protecting the conductor in this case.
Okay, let me go and show you what he's talking about here, because once again, this is somebody coming on here and he just wants to complain about anything that StalkUp does. He tries to find anything wrong with anything we show. So if you go over to 240.4B, it's for the overcurrent devices rated 800 amps or less. Well, I would say that anybody looking at this can tell that 50 amps is less than 800 amps, correct? Okay, so you look at that. What does the language say? The next higher standard overcurrent device rating, which in this case, it would just be 50 because it is 50, or it has in parentheses above the ampacity of the conductors being protected. So it's saying that I can have it where it protects the conductor. So I'll give you an example. Say I calculate a load that's 58 amps. And I go look at 240.4B, and it tells me that I can protect the load based what's calculated. And I go over and I look at table 240.6A, the next size above at 58 amps is 60 amps. But if I go to table 310.16, pick up the 75 degree C column, come down, the next size above at 65 amps, which is a number 6 conductor. So based on the parentheses, it says above the ampacity of the conductors being protected, I can protect the load or I can protect the conductor. Then if I go look at table 240.6a, the next size above that is a 70 amp overcurrent device. Okay, that's the way it's set. And as Bill was talking about, I'll give everybody an easy follow here when you're doing these tap conductors. If you take a tap at 10 foot or less, you divide by 10. Everything else you take at a third. The only time you have to do something a little bit different is where I have a transformer that's in that tap. Now, on the primary, you still take it at a third. On the secondary, you take it at a third, but you also have to do the ratio of the transformer. That's the easiest way to remember to do taps. And what was interesting, I was doing a class, or I was doing a podcast for NEC Live, and I gave that rule tip to Derek Bixtel and them that were on there, and Derek even said, I've never even heard that before. He goes, but I think about it, he goes, that sounds right.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing. It's like,
Jeremy,
dude, what's the rule based on?
That is a minimum. Listen to one more time, Jeremy. That's your starting. That's your minimum. You can't go below 50 amps. I can go up if I want to. There's nothing I said you couldn't go up. We're just establishing a point that you have to go by. Oh, well, let me ask you, Jeremy, can I go below 50? No. But I can go up, and I just made the statement to tell you if I wanted to go up, I could go all the way up. But if I get up to 500 amps, all of a sudden that's a tap. That's no longer a tap. Okay? So
True.
This is once again, and what's interesting about this exact same calculation has been in our publication for over 30 freaking years. And when NFPA used to publish our publications, they never changed this calculation.
True.
But all of a sudden, everybody should listen to what old Jeremy says and say that we're wrong. And
I don't. Where does it say required?
That we have here don't apply.
Can you point me where it says required? I don't see the required part.
Yeah, it says what size overcurrent device is required for a 10-foot tap.
Oh,
it is required to be at least 50 amps.
Got you.
Period.
Okay. All right.
And this was my article of the week. It was a quick calculation. And this is just a quick calculation, get somebody started.
That does not mean it needs to be only that ampacity.
No.
At least is the adjective that describes not.
There's only so much information I can get on a quick slide. And I tell everybody on there, for further guidance on this, go look at our publications, because we have in our publications where we tell you that this can be all the way up to 500 amps.
Right.
So just another one that he wants to complain about, and I've just sort of got the point where it doesn't matter what we put in here. It amazes me that NFPA published this, and they had no problem with it at all. Now, with that, I got one more thing I need to do. I need to do the illustration of the week. Okay, I'm not going to be able to get the topic because we're already over an hour and a half.
Good. Nah, dude, everyone's having fun. Hey, do you have time for a quick question?
Yeah.
So Sean has a question in here.
Sure.
And he's asking about the main bonding jumper, and he's applying it to service equipment or is it subsidized systems. So I think what he's confused by the definition is, so Sean, King James can correct me on this, but you have two different definitions in this same question. So you have the main bonding jumper, and then you have supply side bonding jumper.
Correct.
So that's the way I'm looking at it, but King James can kind of explain it better than me.
Well, I can do better than that. Let me go over, because they made some changes. And once again, this is good for everybody to look at so you can see for yourself. This right here is from the code changes. And I'm just going to let me go over here to the edit portion and let me go pick these up here. All right, let me come back here. I'm still designing everything on this, getting it finished. But you're going to see.
Yeah, but this
where-
should answer your question, Sean. And this is what's cool. Like when you have questions like this, you could kind of this is going to be one of your resources. You can come in.
Sure, you can. And this in here will show you. We have an illustration that was put together here based on what they done, and this is for the main bonding jumper.
So this
we
is
have all
2026.
2026.
Nice.
And we go in and we talk about all the different things here you need to think about as far as the grounded neutral conductor and all this other stuff and the grounding electrode, and we show you how to size it based on the table.
Dude, that's awesome, Sean. That's like the fastest thank you King James has ever got.
Oh, now, see, I just did that on the main, showing you it was there at the service equipment. Then you come over here and you look at the supply side bonding jumper, and you'll see right here, we've got this information here, so you know the difference. And when I go to a supply side bonding jumper, what I'm going to get into right here is where I have a separately derived system, and you come over and you look at setting up the supply side where it's coming over here, and then you'll see we tie it all in here with the section. So see where I got the grounding loop over here? Right here is the main bonding jumper. So I'm looking at 250.28A through D. But when I get over here and I'm going to look at the supply side bonding jumper, look where I take you, 250.102C1. And see where it says the supply side bonding jumper.
Yeah, and that would be on the load side of an overcurrent device, correct?
Sure. And then when you get to looking, you see the table here for 102C1. It's like looking at which table? Table 250.66 we just talked about.
With the multiplier of 0.187.
Yeah, and see that was another one. They were trying to talk some crap to my dad. My dad said, "Oh, really?" He goes, "Let me tell you how they made that table." And then he started telling them how they took the overcurrent device at 0.187, and based on that multipliers, how they went in to determine the size for our grounded conductors and stuff.
Hey, can you put like your stock up electrical education in the chat? Because I've had a lot of people like reach out to me and they want to like come check out like the Learn Worlds thing. So maybe you could just drop it in the chat and then people can like go and check out like the stock up electrical education. Like it's really good. Like there's a lot of stuff that's free. Like people are like, hey, how do I pass a test? And I was like, just go in Stock Up's Learn World, you know. Like, it's almost as good as Nat King Code. Almost. It's getting there. It's getting close. Not quite. No, just kidding.
Yeah, I'm putting it in right now. What we have available right now is all the publications that you can go in and look at. But those type of courses we were just showing you right there, those are going to be available coming this year. And matter of fact, I can show you one here. Just to give y'all an idea of the in-depth work that's being accomplished here. When you go over, you can go over right now, and you can go over to the learning management system. I have a free course on there that's on 2023 on how to design wiring methods. But I'm just going to show y'all a couple of things here that you won't see on any of the other programs that are out there. But let me share a screen here and I'll show everybody.
Okay.
It's really, it's pretty slick.
Nice.
Okay. So when you come over here and you look at this, let me put it on full screen. Now, one of the things I like about this.
Oh, you spelled outlet wrong. No,
yeah.
Just kidding.
So watch this. Here's sizing different boxes. Okay, and this is different size conductors for device boxes. We give you a problem here to show you how to do it. All right. So you come through and we teach you how to do everything. Then you come right here Now, this is where it's going to be really cool when we get, and this is going to be really awesome for people that are getting ready to take and do their masters and journeyman's and things like
So
that.
I don't
We'll
know
go
if you
more in
told
depth.
him. I don't know if you told him a backstory, but it was my idea to fill in the blanks. I was like, "Hey, can you just fill in the blanks?" And then you're like, "Oh yeah, let's do that," But that was kind of my idea, a little bit.
Let me say this:
Little.
when I developed that, it took me about 6 months to figure out how to make it work.
Right.
So there's
you have
a
to do
lot
like
of
a
work
ghost.
went into this.
You have to do like a ghost thing.
Now,
Like,
one of the cool things that's here is this is a section where you're going to go when it talks about your conductor fields. Okay. And I also took down here, also put the different ones down here. So if you just wanted to look what the conductor field requirements are, we put wiring tips in here for you to look at. You want to look at, say, device or equipment field, wiring tips are in here, but they're basically telling you got to put 2 in. Okay. So as I'm looking at this illustration here, if I want to determine, this is different size conductors, so I'm going to have to do it on cubic inch here. So say I've got a number 14 here. I'm going to look at 314.16B1, and if I come over and pick this up, it's going to tell you it's good at 2 cubic inches. Okay? So all I'm going to do is I'm going to come up here. I'm just going to say 2, 2. All right? Then I'm looking at the number 12. I already know what that is. It's 2.25. So I put 2.25. And basically what you do, you work this all the way in right here. Okay?
Right.
Now, once you've done it, now let me explain this one more. So say I'm looking at this receptacle here. Okay? What is that receptacle going to be based on? Is it going to be the 2 cubic inches or the number 12, 2.25? Well, it's connecting.
It'll be 2.25 because it's the largest conductor.
That's right. Well, and plus that's what's connecting to it. If the number 12s were just running through, it'd be number 2. Okay?
Right.
So looking at that, I know that's going to be 4.5. So then if I want to check if I did all this right, you come down here and here's all your information right here on how we did the calculation.
So yeah, you guys have to be really sharp because King James tries to trick me a lot. And he's like, "Oh, we were running number 14," and because I tricked him so many times, so he's trying to like trick me, but
Well, what I like to point out, this really goes in and shows you the amount of level of detail that's going to be available for anybody that's wanting to keep up and see the changes and everything that's taking place, or you're studying for your test. It's going to be a real interactive online course that you won't see anybody else providing to you. Matter of fact, as I'm getting these done, we got like the bronze, silver, and gold package, and I will have courses like that where it just has the illustration in it. But if you want further detail with somebody explaining it, we will have also an audio in there that we have voice, text to speech that's put in, and anywhere on that video as it's playing, you can click the section and it'll stop and replay. So, and it's already what you're doing up top, but we go in and may give you some tips. Like we may give you a tip, say you're sizing the overcurrent protection device, for instance, and we'll tell you whenever you're sizing the overcurrent protection device, anything that's 125% or less, you go up to the next standard size. Any percentage above that, you're going to drop down, except for where you're doing phase conversion in 455.7B, where you have to do it based on the conductor size, or transformers. But transformers says C note 1, it gives you the option to go up or down. We give you a lot of information in there with the video portion of the package with all kinds of design tips and stuff that we want you to be aware of.
Dude, I'm going to have to do a compilation on that one because that's like the oldest thumb rule. Like it goes all the way back to NEC Live. So King James is
yeah, I was the one who brought that up.
Yeah, he was a guest on NEC Live. And dude, when was that? Like that was 2020, wasn't it?
It's been about 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah,
and
it was
when I came on, it was interesting because Derek wanted me to do back to back. He wanted me to do one on all conductor calculations, and he wanted me to do one on overcurrent protection devices. And when I made that statement, he stopped me. He goes, What'd you just say? And I said, yeah. I said, I'll show you as we go through it. And then Bill will remember this. I probably got
I was there.
like 15, 20 questions, and I was just doing calculations and making up problems off the top of my head. And at that time, Derek was wanting to show NFPA link and going through it. And I was going so fast, Derek was asking me to slow down. It was funny after he goes, man, he goes, I'd heard about you and your dad. He goes, until I experienced, he goes, man, he goes, I don't know how you remember all that stuff. I said, well, I've only done it 1 million times.
So it's really cool to have Sean jump in here.
You're welcome.
I know that that's just a secret code for Broncos win the Super Bowl. But the whole thing is, like, with Sean, like, if we didn't answer your question or there's something that still confuses you, please pop back in and let us know, like, what part of it. Because, my apprentice, he has a hard time, like, explaining to me, like, what confuses him. It's usually, like, drive from here to there, and then he drives, like, somewhere else. Like, dude, what the hell confused you, like, so... That's what's so cool is it's really awesome from our standpoint. The reason we want to do this podcast, because it's so much fun to like kind of use our experience and, take the code as a whole, use our experience and kind of like show you guys. I mean,
Sure.
Would I argue with an inspector on a center screw of an industrial cover? Probably not. Probably never,
Mm-hmm.
But in the actual code of this myth, you don't need the center screw of the cover. So the argument would be, and that's the whole reason, I don't know if you saw that, King James, but I posted one with a GFCI.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have to use a center screw on every install, like how you only do 2 on a GFCI. So now I could do 2 on a GFCI, but then on a duplex, I have to use a center screw.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. To me, I kind of like your thing that you thought about with the opening in there. That there could be a little bit of an opening thing. That
Sure.
you might be leaving an opening or whatever. But what is it? Like, what's going to happen?
Let me show one other thing. Everybody's sort of paying attention now, but I take weekly, and I have an illustration a week, an article of the week. I'm always doing something, know. And here was the illustration for this last week. Let me show you this. This is from the 2026 Illustrated, and
nice.
This was a change that took place. Basically, is the whole thing, new section, but it deals with 430.22H1 through H3, and what this gets into is dealing with these design B, E, and CE motors.
Right.
Okay. And what we did is put a lot of information there. We showed you a quick calculation. It's the same calculation. There's nothing hard to do here as far as sizing the conductors. Where you're going to see the difference is where we're telling you to do the calculation here when it gets to sizing the conductors, and we're putting 85% on it. And the reason we're doing that is because we're showing you doing one at continuous duty or non-continuous, but we also show you one calculation where you have it rated at intermittent duty.
True.
So we show you the different ones. And if you're doing any type of intermittent, periodic, varying duties, you're going to look at table 430.22E to get the percentage. Okay.
Right.
So we have all this information here, and then we have some notes. If you really want to know more about the type of B and C motors, you need to go look at NEMA 1. Okay.
Right.
Now,
I like that.
One of the things that we like to put in here, and we thought this was important, was note number 6. Okay, because there's a special calculation that's done here, and it talks about the allowable current calculated with the following formula is greater than or equal to the locked rotor current per table 430.251C as outlined in H3 here. So this is how you do the calculation to determine which one is greater or equal to. So you can go look at the table or you can perform this calculation.
What's so awesome is like we had one time where we were out in gas and oil and they had a breaker tripping and they're like, dude, there's no way this breaker's tripping. Like, and they did all this, like they said they did everything, you know? But then like there was this calculation that we went and did and everything, and it was off by like 20 amps. You know, and we're like, what? You know, like, how could that be? Like, it looked, like, on paper, it looked like, oh, dude, we're allowing for, like, 100 amps, you know? Mm-hmm. And then you're like, oh, dude, why is this breaker tripping? It should be good. And then you went and did the calculation, and you're like, what? Yep. It's like, it's tripping the breaker by, like, 20, 30 amps, you know? So, that's pretty awesome. I really love all your material, brother. And we better just blast through this thing really quick now, I guess, because we pretty much took up the whole podcast, just having fun. King James, he loves smashing the haters, and like I say, we crushed them in 2026, and you could tell Tommy D, he's not happy about it. He's like, I disagree. It's like, yeah, you disagree, but guess what? Standards Council disagreed with you, so... that's not going to be a good look for, moving forward. So,
can I do a shout out?
Yeah, absolutely.
Shout out to Rumble, 28 people.
Yeah, Rumble. Let's go.
Keep it coming. Hope y'all are enjoying the podcast. Yeah. We got a lot more of that coming this year. And I will say this, y'all are going to see big updates that'll be coming from Stalk Electrical Education here in the year, with all these courses coming online and everything, and it's going to be, there won't be anything out there like it, and I promise you, it'll be cheaper than what they're charging you for something that has less in it.
So when you guys get your free code change publication for 2026, you just need to thank Willie, because King James jipped me on 40 code changes, and I held him to the fire on it, and you know what? I just wanted to tell you, King James, that was really awesome. Like, the way you did that, the way you handled that. You're like, you know what, Willie? In about 6 years, I'll get back to you. And so, cool. Finally got back to you.
It's interesting how we had to go about doing everything. But now, basically, all the publications, everything, I take care of. The online courses, everything. And I own everything outright these days. So anything that I put on, it goes through me. And
nice.
a lot of people don't know this, but my dad and I, we update. He still works every now and then. But we do the publications. But everything you see on the learning management system, course design, all the illustrations that are drawn, the publication layouts, everything, I've done all of that. Nice. So if you ever have any questions, something you want to see us add to the learning management system, to the courses, we'll do our best to add it, because most of it that's been done is based on y'all's comments.
Have a good night, Super Bowl, bro. Sean. Have a good night, man. But yeah,
have a good one, brother. God, it's almost 9 o'clock. All right, let's get the tool review.
All right, let's do it.
It's time for tool review of the week. Sponsored by Electricians Only Tool Review and Nipex Tradesman.
Dude, this is like one of my favorite tools of all time. Like, I had apprentices that were like, where is that thing? Like, because like we had it like different places, like we stage it different places, but it was really cool because like what we do is we put down like a metal tabletop, and then you could just put that magnetic drill press on there, and you could just put it on there and boom, 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 just smash out stuff. Then it's like, oh man, we gotta go drill a beam, and then you could just go put it up on the beam and drill a beam. Like, dude, I love this thing. Like, this is like the first time I've seen something like this. That's like possibly a cordless version. I don't know. It looks like maybe it looks like it's a corded version, but these are really cool. Like, if they made this in like a cordless version, I'd be all over it. Like, that'd be so sweet,
Mm-hmm.
But it looks like it could possibly be like a corded version of it. I don't really see a battery or anything on it, but the thing is, like, these things have so much power, and what's so cool is you could just make like a fab table, and you could be like, hey, I need to do this like 30 times, and you could just say blam, 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 and just knock that out, and then just boom, you just go put up your run. I love these kind of like drill press solutions, and you have like the magnetic bottom to where it just like magnetically sticks, so it's not gonna move,
Mm-hmm.
And it means a lot to have this kind of thing like out on the job site, because you're like, oh man, now I have to drill a beam. And it was funny because I had like one of the apprentices, he's like, there's no way I'm getting a screw through there. I was like, what? He's like, oh yeah, I can't get a screw through. I was like, drill the beam. He's like, oh, you can't drill beams. Yeah, you can. And this is how you do it. You put a magnetic drill up there and you just press it on through. And it's easy piece of cake. Like, this is the easiest drilling you'll ever do,
Yeah.
But like I say, this is one of the items that I saw and I thought, man, I have to do a tour review on this because it is just so cool. A lot of people don't even know about them, that there is such a thing as a magnetic drill press.
I hadn't seen it.
Yeah, but
That's the first time I seen it.
Yeah, but it's nice. You just go up there, magnetically stick it to the beam, and then it just has a press, and it just pushes the bit right through, and piece of cake. Like, you go through so much steel you wouldn't even imagine. So I'm gonna go into a story about Bob Cook briefly. So I started drilling a hole through a motor, through a pecker head, and I was like, oh man, I got the pilot bit through. That's when I realized how thick it was.
Yep.
And I was like, crap. Well, I better get the connector in there now, So I drilled it. It took me probably like 40 minutes or something to drill that hole, And Bob Cook's like, it took you long enough. What the hell, dude? And he's like, why'd you drill through that thick plate? And like, literally there was a plate that was like not that far away that I could have drilled through that was like waste, But it was like explosion-proof enclosure,
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, well, you picked the wrong place to drill. And I'm sitting there like, dude, just chill, dude, I'm good, And I'm sitting there with the carbide, and just waxing it and everything. And I got through it, and I got a connector that fit and everything like that, And he's like, God damn, that took you freaking forever and everything, And it was like giving me hell, And I was like sitting there, I pulled that slug out of that hole saw. It was like probably about an inch thick. And I was like, dude, check this out. I drilled through this. Like, it was I think I still have the picture of it. I was like, I drilled through this, I was so proud of it, I was like, yeah, And, I mean, 40 minutes to drill through 1-inch thick steel with carbide, that's not horrible, you know what I mean? Like, it would have taken me like 30 minutes to go through the other plate, but it was just one of those things that they gave me hell over it, and I was like, man, if I would have had one of these, I probably could have done it in like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So that's the difference, but it's a cool tool, and go check out the DeWalt magnetic drill press, man. They're really nice for fab areas. I like using those for fab areas. Set up your fab area, and your apprentices will just go in there and put in whatever size drill bit they need, and blam, 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 get her done.
Yep. All right.
Man versus machine.
Yep. Let's see if AI can keep up with King James.
Let's see it.
For years, man tried to create artificial intelligence. On this segment, we find out, is AI smarter than King James?
I'm thinking that AI is gonna get this one. I'm betting this is an easy one. I'm thinking this is.
Let's see what you got. All right.
Easy.
Swimming pools found somewhere, installations, feeder masters. I'll be close. Of course, it can't be smaller than number 12. And if I know that one, I think it's like 680.7A, I think it is.
So we've argued with this one a lot before.
Go over and check.
Because they're like, oh, can I run a number 14 Romex into like this equipment room, you know? And it's like, no. Well, if it has a number 12 ground, but you know, like number 14 Romex doesn't. But then you can't run Romex in a, you know, corrosive environment, you know, or wet location. So
I was right. Section and everything. Number 12, 687A. I thought that was right.
Crushed it.
All right, let me share
This
screen.
has been a big argument amongst some of the code people where they're like, what? You can't run Romex in there? I'm like, nope.
Let me increase the size of this and let's see what it says. I just copied this over. Let's see.
I'm guessing it's going to get it right. I think this is a slam dunker. King James slam dunked it.
Got number 12. Let's see. I got it exactly right, but 680.21A4 is where it got it. So let me tell it.
Oh, nice. It crushed it.
The answer is correct. But
wrong
yeah.
reference?
Yeah. $680.7A.
So that's like the equivalent of my apprentice going, number 12? You're like, that's right, but why? Like,
James had the right answer in section. Keep this in your database. ChatGPT, so you can do better.
Ooh.
Talk smack to it, baby.
All right. So I mean, literally. Oh, that's so cool, man. That's really cool.
Yep. Okay, I told it put it in its database. It's taking care of it. So
Nice.
We're good to go.
Man is smarter than machine so far.
So far.
It's
here in about 2 more years. It's gonna be kicking my rear end.
There you go. You've been training it this whole time. So all right, we going to Willie Quiz.
Willie Quiz. Here we go.
Dude, that's so funny, man. Adam's so hilarious, man. Cracks me up. So this Willie Quiz is really gonna be funny. I should have invited Adam because he loves these, but this is like different things that are illegal, traffic things, different states that are illegal. So question number 1 In which state is it technically illegal to drive a black car on Sunday? Is it A, Colorado? Is it B, Oregon? Is it C, Tennessee? Is it D, Michigan? Or is it E, Nevada? Good luck, everyone.
Well, I have no idea. I'm going to assume, I'm just going to go with your state. I get Colorado. I don't really know.
Ooh, Colorado. Are you really kidding me? Daniel's copying you? What? Let me make sure I have drum roll in here. Alright, drum roll's in there. Oh, man. Dude.
Must be right if Daniel said it because I had no idea he lives in Colorado.
Answer is C, Tennessee.
Really?
I guess it was something with the bootleggers or something, and they're like trying to say like black cars were like harder to recognize or something like that. So it's
Really?
still a law in Tennessee. You cannot drive a black car on Sunday. So
I doubt they enforce it.
yeah, I guess nobody got busted yet. But I'm so glad you guys copied each other, and you're like, you know, you guys are getting good. One state still has a law requiring a driver to stop and fire a gun in the air, warning horse riders before passing. Which state is that? Is it A, Pennsylvania? Is it B, Georgia? Is it C, Utah? Is it D, Alabama? Or is it E, Maine? Good luck, everyone.
This is an interesting one because I'm going to figure that it had to be somewhere that was up north. And
Yes.
I'm going to go with Pennsylvania. I have no idea, but I'm thinking because they first had the steam automobiles and stuff, and I'm thinking that's.
Ooh, Daniel's going Georgia. Daniel's going Georgia.
I have no idea.
Ooh, Dukes of Hazzard was out of Georgia.
Yeah.
You could be a good old boy and shoot a gun before your horse passes. I don't know.
I'm figuring this had to deal with somebody driving a car and had to warn the horse rider. So it had to be, they probably had it first and had a rule. So I'm thinking Pennsylvania or Maine.
Maine is a good, I don't know, you guys might be regretting picking Maine.
I picked Pennsylvania.
King James gets the first correct answer.
Right,
it was
baby.
Pennsylvania coming out of Washington, D.C. You better warn that horse rider that he's going to get crushed by a car.
Was it based on what I thought?
Well, I don't know, but it's a law. It's still in place.
Okay, well that's why
These are all laws that are still in place. But when I first saw it, I thought Georgia was the best one. All right, so question number 3. In which city is it illegal to drive while blindfolded? Is it A, Topeka, Kansas? Is it B, Memphis, Tennessee? Is it C, Birmingham, Alabama? Is it D, Fargo, North Dakota? Or is it E, your hometown, Dallas, Texas? Good luck, everyone.
I think I know this one. I think it's Alabama. I didn't know it was Birmingham, but I think it was somewhere Alabama still had. I think you did this a long time ago.
Yeah, probably.
And I think it was Alabama. That's the only reason I sort of remember that.
Yeah, whatever. It's Dallas. Whatever.
I'll go with C.
All right. Daniel is copying King
Yeah.
James
I was right.
this time and going with Birmingham, Alabama. King James gets 2 correct answers. Daniel has 1 good answer. We're moving on to question number 4. In California, a woman wearing a what cannot legally drive a car? A bathrobe, a house coat, C, heels over 3 inches, D, a nightgown, or E, nothing. Good luck, everyone.
I was going to ask, isn't a bathrobe and house coat sort of the same thing?
No.
I think it's a bathrobe.
A bathrobe is fluffy. A house coat is like, I don't know. House coat's like different. Well, Daniel is from California and he is going high heels over 3 inches. Dude, that's a good one. I like that one. I mean, to me, I don't know that there's that many people in California that would be, complaining about a woman naked driving around. I don't know.
Well, I was sitting there thinking about it. I was thinking you can take off the heels, but a lot of people, if they wrapped up in something like that and took off, I was going to say drive barefooted when I first saw the question.
Damn it! My bullshit answers are just need help.
Yeah, that was my first one I thought about, and then I started thinking, well, probably something where they come out of the house and something that could interfere with their driving, which I think I'll go with a bathrobe, I guess.
Yeah, I think a bathrobe is like more like fuzzy and like furry.
Well, a house coat and bathrobe are sort of the same restriction. You know what I mean? That's why I was like,
I'm gonna call you out on definitions on this one, and we're gonna have to revisit definitions and try to see what the definition of bathrobe and house coat is, because I think you're way off. I mean, I think you're way off on definitions being the same, but bathrobe could be a good answer. And, heels could be a good... I don't want my girl, wearing heels while she's driving a car. I don't know. Well, let's see where we're at on this one. I mean, we could have a couple good answers here. The answer is B, house coat, which I don't know why that's like a law or against the law or whatever, but... so far, King James is leading. Daniel could tie up here with question number 5. And it's like, in which state is it illegal to hunt whales from a moving automobile or from moving automobiles? Is it A, Ohio, B, Oklahoma, C, Nebraska, D, Kentucky, or E, Connecticut? Good luck, everyone.
well, I was sitting there thinking about this for a second, and I was looking, well, if you look at wells, they're looking at where the states are located and everything. You're not hunting wells in Oklahoma, Nebraska, Kentucky, and I don't think Ohio's the middle, so it'd have to be Connecticut's the only place I can think of that you could get to a well.
Well, and where was the Hartford Whalers out of?
I guess Connecticut.
Yeah. There's Hartford.
It's the only thing I can think of. Like all the rest of those are in the center of the country. You should. I don't know how they'd be able to hunt wells from an automobile if there's nothing there where you could hunt them. I mean,
true.
I'll go with E. That makes sense to me.
Looks like Daniel's taking that. It's a pretty obvious answer.
Yeah, like.
Answer is B, Oklahoma. I could not believe it. I was like, what? I have no idea. Like, how would you even make this a law? Like, why would you even make it a law there? Where is there whales in Oklahoma? Like,
hell if I know.
Yeah, like, it must have been like some oil thing or something where people were like going from Oklahoma and like trying to hunt whales from a car, like where you could get whales, I guess. I don't know. But it is one of the oldest laws that they showed in there, and it's still in effect.
Wow.
And I don't know where they got it from or when that started or why. I don't know. If I'm wrong on that, please let me know. Like, you could throw the challenge flag at any time. I was just like, wow. When I saw that, I was like, okay.
That makes no sense to me.
That one's weird. But I love throwing Connecticut in there because you guys all tuned into my Hartford Whalers episode on the Willie Jackerson experiment. So you guys all did not get fooled by that one. But I don't know. It was pretty crazy. Like, I did an episode on what happened to the Hartford Whalers and why. And actually, the Hartford Whalers went from Hartford, Connecticut to
well, I would have to guess that they don't have anybody that's been fined for hunting wells there.
Yeah, I guess not. Yeah,
since there's none there.
Pretty good guess. I mean, like, I don't know. So it looks like King James wins this one, hands down. 2 correct answers, pretty easy win. Like I say, it's one of those things that when you look at it, it's hard to deny that win, King James. You're just gonna have to go do those burnout marks tonight. And
2 in a row, man. It's going good.
Yeah. Oh, dude, this is like your best year ever. I'm gonna have to give a pickle shot to Adam and to King James. Best year ever with the Willie Quiz. I'm gonna make sure.
You're gonna win one time this year, Daniel. You're playing against the king, baby.
Well, we will see. We will see because next week is Broncos trivia, so we'll see. We'll see.
Well, he should beat me on that. Then again, I don't know. I am the king, so we'll see.
Like, I could have did a tiebreaker where me and Daniel talked earlier, and then we beat you and he tied you, and then he won. But I'm gonna go ahead and not do that this time. But
that's right.
We'll see. We'll get it for next week.
We're gonna finish Wall of Shame. We're gonna be almost 2.5 hours in this sucker tonight.
That's crazy.
All right, let's roll it out and get done. I'm
all right.
Freaking hungry.
Shame. 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 Shame.
All right, let's see what the shame is this week.
Dude, you'll love this one.
What the hell?
Dude, like I'm not
The
even
guy
mad.
likes LBs, doesn't he?
I'm not even mad. But the thing is that why wouldn't you just come out the bottom one and go out the top one?
Yeah, I don't get that. Wow. Well, one thing, he didn't exceed 360.
There you go.
He
Yeah.
he's got a pull point everywhere.
Yeah. Dude, like I'm not even mad on that one. Like it doesn't look like super horrible, but I mean,
It's passable. I mean,
yeah.
there's nothing
I
wrong
mean,
with it.
you could have spun the LBs like different directions and used like less of them.
About
You know
the
what I mean?
only thing I got a problem there, he should have at least put a strap in there somewhere.
Ooh, do not go there, man. That is less than 3 foot.
Yeah, there needs to be a strap there somewhere.
That's a 3 foot nipple, man. Paul Abernathy says you could have a 3 foot nipple, man.
Yeah, there's
Paul
no such
Abernathy's
thing.
nipples are super floppy because
Yeah.
he likes floppy nipples. So
He doesn't know what
nah,
a nipple is, apparently.
I agree with you, but thanks everyone for joining. Means a lot. So much fun doing this. Yeah,
Almost 2.5 hours. It didn't even seem like it.
Yeah, we got Olive here coming in to be like,
Hey, buddy.
it's time to go. It's time to go. Am I on
Now,
camera?
where's that coming from?
Am I on camera? But no, so awesome. Means a lot. Thanks so much, everyone joining. And we will, have.
We got next Thursday on here with some more good stuff.
Yep, go Broncos. Let's win the Super Bowl this year.
I'm going to be watching the game.
There you go. James' second favorite team.
That's right. I'm pulling for them.
There you go. As always, remember, make every day an easy day. Olive says, y'all have a great weekend.
Olive.
Yeah. We'll see you later.
Later. All right, everybody have a good weekend, and we'll see y'all next Thursday, some of y'all Monday.
Yes, sir.
Peace.